Welcome to another weekly edit. So in one of my recent videos where I gave some impressions around coming to mirrorless from a digital SLR after 19 years, in that video I took a panorama shot of the beautiful Wheal Coates not on the North Cornwall coast. So in this video we're going to use the panorama merge feature within Lightroom Classic to stitch it together. So let's jump into the edit. We're going to be using Lightroom Classic to merge 5 images together to create a nice panorama. So here you'll see, hopefully from the thumbnails, I've got plenty of overlap between each shot, and that's important because you need to give Lightroom something to be able to identify that the images belong together. Basically, I've got way more overlap than I kind of need, really, which is not a bad thing. We'll maybe go into in another video of how to shoot panoramas, but you can see here, we've got, if I skim through them, we can see we've got those 5 images, nice wide panorama, and Lightroom makes it really easy to do. All we need to do in the library, if I select the first image, hold the shift button down, select the last image, all 5 images are selected. If I right click, we can go to photo merge panorama, and it's going to give us a preview. Just make that window a little bit bigger, and you can see like straight away it's done a really good job. I mentioned in the video about having the level in the EVF I found really useful, and that's so that when I was panning across to do the shot, I could make sure each one was level. That in turn has made the stitching process easier for Lightroom. Now you've got these projection options. Honestly, I don't kind of know what they mean. I just click through them and see which one looks best. The scene does change ever so slightly. As I say, I just go with what I prefer. By default it was on cylindrical. I quite like that. You've got a couple of options here. So boundary warp, you can fill the edges, so it will use, I don't know if it's using generative AI to do that or just content aware fill, but you can see where it's in the stitching process, because each scene optically is slightly different. You don't get a perfect merge where you get no kind of space where there's no photo, so to speak. So you do get, you can see up the top here where, and down the side where you get a little bit of the blank canvas coming through in the background. Now you can ask Lightroom to kind of fill that for you. I mean, it does a pretty amazing job actually, to be fair. I'm not going to bother because I'm probably just going to crop the image afterwards. You can do an auto crop, so rather than filling the edges, Lightroom will crop in that blank canvas away. That can be kind of useful. And auto settings, where it's trying to basically edit the image for you, brightness, contrast, saturation. I'm not going to do that because I want to edit it myself. And then you can create a stack, which just within the Lightroom library, it will just, the 5 images that you were merging and the final output, it will just put it into a stack. I don't like stacks personally, so I don't do that. And then we just click on merge, and up the top here you can see creating panorama. Depending on obviously your speed of your computer, etc., the number of files that you're merging, the size of the files that you're merging, it can take a little bit of time. That wasn't too bad. So we can see now we've got, if we look over here, it's combined the images, is a DNG, and look at the file size. So these files individually are 4,000 by 6,000 pixels or 24 megapixels, and this image is now 10,600 by 600/100, so quite a big file. You could probably print that and stick up on a wall. Very, very large in terms of file size. So let's just go into develop. So First, I'm not going to do the lens corrections and stuff because I don't know if it makes much difference. And it does, which is odd, even though they're stitched together. Going to go into the crop tool. I'm going to just straighten it up a little bit. That, if we look over here, that horizon line is just sloping down to the left-hand side. So I'm just going to take my ruler across that little bit of horizon line that we've got there and straighten it up. And with the crop, by default it's keeping the original ratio. We might want to look at a more natural kind of 16:9, panorama kind of crop, somewhere like that. When I'm thinking about the crop, kind of looking at these kind of people down the corner, I don't want them cut off or left in or looking a bit odd. So we've also got a couple of people just here right on the edge of the frame, so might have to come in a bit, although I do like this sea area down here, but then I've got to watch this corner down the bottom here, so it's just about finding a position. Maybe we might have to just crop halfway through those people and maybe just take them out afterwards. Somewhere like that I think works. Within the crop tool now, you can, if you right click, you can change the opacity. So if we turn it off, the crop frame guide, whatever you want to call it, is now the same opacity as the image. And we can go to the other extreme where it's like 100%. So now we're not seeing the area of the image that we're cropping off. We're only seeing the crop itself. And you've got a varying range there of 20%, 50%, 80%. Excuse me. Somewhere in the middle I like. Enter on that one. And now I'm just going to edit it. It's kind of normal, so start with my basic panel, highlights. We haven't really got anything clipping. Looking at the histogram, we can turn the clipping highlights on. We've got nothing that's showing as a black or white. Don't really see the need to pull any highlights down. Maybe lift the shadows a little bit. We've got a bit of detail to bring out. But overall the exposure is pretty good. Maybe add a tiny bit of contrast. A little bit of texture and a little bit of clarity. And then maybe a bit of saturated colour of that sea, and that is absolutely beautiful. Maybe a little bit of vibrance, not too much. Somewhere like that. I mean, you can see look at these sliders, I've done kind of minimal stuff really to the image. We look at before and after. I mean, it's very subtle. But I don't like, massively crunchy looking edits. I like to keep them fairly natural. I'm going to go into the masking tools. This area feels a little bit bright in the top right. The sun, I don't remember where the sun was. No, it wasn't over there, so I don't know why it looks a little bit, the sky is definitely darker over this way and brighter over here. So I'm just going to take a sky selection, but I don't want to affect the whole sky, so I'm going to select the mask and subtract with a linear gradient and really soft edge on this, something like that. So we're only impacting the areas that are red, and just pull the exposure down ever so slightly just to try and match this side of the sky, because I just felt my eye was kind of being drawn up here. I'm going to go back into my masking tools, going to create a new mask, radial gradient, and for me, Wheal Coates, so this is Tower and Roath Engine House, Wheal Coates up here. These are the kind of the stars of the show, if you like. So I'm going to take a radial gradient, not feather it so much like that. And then I'm going to just lift the exposure just ever so slightly so your eye's kind of drawn into that area. Just like that. I thought that might impact the sky more than it has. So I was going to do a subtract sky, but I don't think I really need to be honest. And then I'm just going to sharpen it. I don't really need to do too much more than that. So let's have a look at the engine house as a guide. Sharpening always find somewhere around the 80 mark kind of works quite well. Hold the Option key down, make sure we're not sharpening areas we don't need to sharpen. Again, anything that goes completely black we're not sharpening, so don't want these blue areas of sky where there's no texture. We don't need to sharpen those areas, so those areas need to go kind of black like that and let go. So again, before, after, yeah, I don't see the need to do much more than that to the image. Let me know your thoughts again, before and after. But yeah, panorama merges in Lightroom Classic. If you haven't got a lens that maybe can shoot the whole scene that you're trying to photograph, then merging images is a really useful technique. So I'll put before and after up. Any comments, let me know. But until next time, look after yourselves. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.